Now, where the hell did you get that patch? You ever have a moment in your life where someone asks a question and suddenly the world around you goes dead quiet, like everyone's holding their breath just to see what you'll do next? That was me, 100 pounds of sweat and desert grit, hunched over a crate at Fort Halloway with Colonel Hale standing behind me. A single round pinch between his thick fingers and a look in his eyes like he'd just caught a ghost at the bottom of a whiskey glass. That patch crimson inside my collar, black insignia stitched sharp as a promise had been my secret. For years. 3 seconds ago, nobody saw me. Now the whole damn base had eyes. You ever work in a place where the heat felt less like sunlight and more like a hammer, coming down in hard, flat sheets? That's Halloway, out where the yard bakes the bones right out of you, and the wind is just sandpaper on your skin. I liked it. I could disappear here, just another set of gloved hands, sliding ammo rounds into foam, eyes on the shadows, letting the rest of the base thrum by in its own busy, meaningless rhythm. You learn to recognize the routine. Chopper kicking up dust, boots hitting gravel, the chatter and whine of soldiers shuffling orders or cracking jokes no one really laughs at. My favorite trick was staying unseen, letting the world blur past while I moved crates, kept my head down. Invisible until I wasn't. After a while, you notice when things shift. Like how the security tower sweep lingers a breath too long on your station. Or how, after the last intel briefing one I wasn't invited to, but overheard through a paper-thin wall, certain eyes started tracking you a little different. Sergeant Kent, all squared-off muscle and short words, came at me with 2 privates trailing, barking about my timetable. The kind of man who thinks authority means standing in your shadow. Told me to hurry up with the 7.62S. You know the type. Never a compliment, always an accusation. You hiding frostbite under there? He smirked, glancing at my sleeves, sweat pooling under the cuffs. Didn't answer, just kept working. Kent didn't like that. Some men want you nervous just to see you squirm. He left with the privates, throwing a last remark over his shoulder about my quick hands. Wasn't about speed. It was about suspicion, about not belonging. I saw Colonel Hale later, pacing the yard, mirrored sunglasses reflecting the world like he didn't even notice the sun. He didn't come close, just stood at the shade line, scanning, weighing, filing something away behind those lenses. He didn't say a word. Not yet. Rowe, one of the old NCOs from Perimeter Detail, dropped by next. Shipment coming in. Need your hands. Voice like gravel, but not unkind. We moved together toward the north gate as a convoy rolled in. Mechanic stared, the kind of look that isn't hostile, just measuring, like trying to figure out if you're worth betting on. You ever get that sense someone's watching just to see if you'll make a mistake? That's Fort Halloway for you. Rowe asked, "You ever work ordnance outside the wire?" Casual, but I knew what he was getting at. I gave him the answer you give when you've seen too much to say out loud. Different places. He chuckled, called a non-answer, but didn't push. When the unloading was done, he got serious. Kent's gunning for you. He's talking to Hale. By the time I was back at my station, shadows were longer, the bass humming its low, relentless tune. But I could feel it attention. Out here, attention's currency. I'd just been handed more than I wanted. It's funny how the little things add up. Like a paper manifest fluttering in the wind, or a crate that hums wrong under your palm. The air at Halloway, metallic with oil, fuel, and the faint tang of explosives nobody notices after the first week, but I never stopped clocking the details. Maybe that's the curse of a person who survived by noticing. The day spun on. Lieutenant Kent Murrah kentran the armory like a machine, every button-down inch of her regulation perfect. I tried to inspect a lot of M995 AP rounds, claiming a standard check. She pressed back, "I see by the book." Didn't matter. The armory wasn't for people like me. Not without orders from command. That's when you know you're not trusted. Not really. Cutting through the fuel area, I saw a drum swaying in the wind, straps loose. One bad bump, and it'd tip, spill, and ignite, taking half the yard with it. I fixed it quick, tight, and sure, just in time for a kid with a trolley to almost run me over. He muttered, barely looking up. People only see trouble when it explodes in their face. 15 minutes later, the alarm blared localized hazard, not a full attack. Smoke curling from the maintenance sheds. 2 soldiers were already there, wrestling a fire extinguisher, the air sour with burning rubber. It was small, contained, but I knew, standing there in that haze, that if that drum had gone, we'd be counting bodies. Garrison, usually a smart-ass, watched from the tool rack, something different in his eyes. Respect, maybe, or suspicion. By evening, the wind kicked up, dusk rolling in with a softer kind of brightness. I heard voices in the command tent. Kent and Garrison arguing over the Western Gap whether to sneak a detachment through or risk an ambush. I wasn't supposed to hear, but I let myself drift close. Their plan was confidence masking doubt. On the map, the gap looked open. But the faint gray, hatching old bunker marks told a different story. Nobody blows a network that big completely. If I was planning an ambush, that's where I'd wait. Quiet until the kill zone closed. Then Hale called me out. Stood there, big and calm, not a question in his tone. He asked what I was doing, why I was near command. I told him straight. I heard enough to know the Western Gap isn't what you think. Kent bristled. Rog's eyes flickered. Hale's voice cut. Explain. I pulled the collar aside just enough for the crimson-black patch to catch the fading sun. You ever see the world tilt just a little? That's how it felt. Silence, so thick you could feel it in your teeth. Echo red. Only a few people in the world know what that means, and the ones who do never talk about it. From there, everything changed. Orders got rewritten. The map came alive with new lines, my grease pencil sketching out a northern approach rugged, hard, but safer. Teams of 4, moving staggered, using old maintenance shafts hidden by a landslide. Not on any chart you'd find, but I knew the spot. That's the thing about living in the shadows. You see things nobody else looks for. We prep in a hurry, rifles stripped to bare essentials. Comms checked, loadouts light, but lethal. I briefed the team myself. No slides, no speeches, just the truth. We're not here to be loud. We're here to bring people home. You check your corners. Follow every call. If we split, rendezvous at the cliff. No hito moves. I watched their eyes, fear, excitement, trust, maybe a little awe. Right before go time, a smoke grenade rolled off a rookie's gear bag, bloomed across the hangar. Visibility dropped to nothing, chaos brewing. I snapped into command, voice cutting through the fog. Single file, hand on the shoulder in front. Move, or you'll get lost. A private stumbled, I yanked him straight, didn't waste a word. Another called for help. Buried in smoke, I grabbed him, got him to the exit. Outside, the world was sunlight and noise, everyone coughing but alive. Hale watched me steady the team, no panic, no shouting. That's twice you stopped disaster, he said. It wasn't just me, I replied, but he shook his head. It starts with someone who doesn't freeze. That's leadership. That's all it is. The mission rolled out, convoy north through the canyons. Distant wind, grit scraping metal. At the ridge, we unloaded, climbed a rock face that looked impossible but wasn't if you knew the pattern. Kent, Rog, the team each with their strengths, each leaning on each other when it mattered. The vent shaft was where I said it'd be, hidden by heat and rock. We took out 2 guards, got inside cool air, low amber lights, hum of machines. Split into teams, swept corridors, found the cells. Civilians, dirty, scared. A little boy grabbed my sleeve, eyes huge. Are you soldiers? Something like that, I said, nudging him along. No time for comfort, just movement. Halfway out, the rotors came reinforcements close and fast. We set smoke canisters at the hollow, triggered a wideout that scattered infrared like fireflies. Bought us just enough time to get everyone up the chute, loading them into waiting trucks. As we pulled away, I looked back, the hollow gone, masked by its own storm. Hale's voice on the radio, bring them home. And we did. 3 days later, the base was back to normal. Trucks rumbling, rifles barking, sunlight turning the roofs white hot. I was in the depot again, moving crates, same as before. Rod showed up, arms crossed, plain shirt. I was wrong about you, he said, respect clear now. Kent followed, apology on her lips. You were doing your job, I told her. So was I. We shook on it brief, firm enough. Colonel Hale came last, offering me a room in the officer's wing. I turned him down. People don't watch the shadows, Colonel. I get more done when nobody notices. He nodded, understanding more than he let on. The sun dropped, painting the sky in copper and rose. I stood alone, adjusting my collar to hide the patch, watching the base move on orders, boots, distant chopper. Tomorrow, another place, another name, same job. That's Echo Red. Unseen until the world needs you. Gone again before anyone knows what happened. The reports logged it clean. Successful extraction, 0 casualties. But the truth lives in the spaces between, in the look Hale gave me, in the way Rog and Kent carried themselves after, in every soldier who'd marched through that smoke and come out the other side. Some stories fade when the dust settles. This one didn't, because the real warriors are quiet ones. The invisible ones aren't there for medals or speeches. They're there for the space between disaster and safety, the place where you don't even realize a choice saved your life. So tell me, where are you watching from? Are you someone who sees the quiet ones? Or do you still look past them? If you believe courage doesn't need a rank, that leadership can be silent and unshakable, share your story, hit that like, and let's keep this truth alive. Because somewhere out there, the next Echo Red is already waiting, ready to step forward without applause, without permission, just doing what needs to be done, and vanishing before you even know you needed saving. Ride safe, keep your eyes open, and remember not every legend needs a name. Some just need to be ready.